personal connect is super important as it was earlier, and it continues to be so. What AI can do or what tools can do is automate processes which are fixed, which take away some of the regular tasks that need to be performed on a daily basis without adding any value to it. But from a human interface perspective, building relationships, making sure that the understanding of that story goes beyond that just the reading of the material, that still remains sacrosanct. My journey actually, surprisingly began much before I was born, because my father always was, I mean, my father was a journalist, and he was a journalist for his entire career. So I think even before I was born, I was destined to be in the space of media, journalism, and communication, because that is something that, was at our breakfast table, was how we were growing up. When I remember when we were little children, other kids used to, maybe play during their free time, and we were asked to either write a poem or write a story or just put our thoughts on paper. So forever that I have known, I've always lived with a pen and pad. I've always had something to always pen down my thoughts, and I was encouraged to do that. So I think this became I come from a family of people who have been in the media business, both on the analysis side and on the journalism side. So the environment was such that this became like the most I would say it became like the most desirable profession for me, and something that I really enjoyed doing. So I guess that's where I started from. Professionally, my first job was with a company called IMG. It's now called IMG Reliance, and I joined there to sort of basically get to feel the corporate world. So the company was into managing celebrities and managing events and putting big sporting events together. Great experience, great learning. Just the first bit of what I could get on the corporate ladder for. Post which I went ahead and joined Canon. I spent a good 10 to 12 years there. Again, a very enriching experience, a lot of learning. A lot of my communication style and communication ethos were framed there, because a lot of times, we get into a field not knowing really what our personal style is, and when we start doing something and we enjoy it and we refine it and we define it and we hone that skill. So I think that's where the majority of my skills got really chiseled, if I may use that word, and I became the kind of professional that I am today. And after that, a couple of more career moves, and now I'm part of the Dell ecosystem. What I do at Dell is I take care of the enterprise communications for the brand in India. So everything which falls under the enterprise and the B2B part of the communication is what is part of my portfolio. And I've been now with the company for almost 10 years. And before that, my journey has been through technology brands, whether it's Canon or Microsoft or EMC and now Dell. I've been a technologist at heart in terms of my communication ethos. And I think how it differs is that there are processes, there are templates. It is easier to function in an environment which allows you to, which has a brand recognition. So a lot of times, I think it helps if you're communicating for a brand which already stands for something, because then you have the power to enhance it. You can, do better storytelling there. Uh, I'm not saying that it's not, it's not fun to work for a startup brand. It is, I'm sure, for a different kind of challenge, because you get to sort of create an ethos there. But in an established brand, I feel that because it's already known for a certain category. And I'll take an example of my previous organization. So Canon, when I joined, was known as a copier company. Although it was a great big brand to know, everybody knew it was a Japanese multinational. Everybody understood what the brand stood for. but it was in a category that it didn't want to be known only for. It wanted to be known for many other categories. It was in the office space, it was in the camera space, and those products were just coming into the country. So even within a multinational company, you have the ability to create a separate brand, to create a separate category, and to work on those messaging. So it's always challenging. And even when I joined EMC, which now is part of Dell, even then it was known. It's a storage company. It is still the world's largest storage company, and storage for a general for a general person may not really mean much. So for us, communication was the best medium for us to break that. Instead of just being pure B2B, we made it easier for people to understand what the brand stood for, what the products help people do, how it was already a part of their lives without them knowing about it. So everything that you and I would always assume is there in the server room that nobody ever went for except for deep air conditioning. We now know what it stands for. We know how that is the backbone of everything that we're able to do, right from getting the emails that we get and making it secure and making sure that none of the emails that we're doing is available on the darknet for people to. So all of this is, the power of technology and how it made our lives efficient and smoother, are all things that we made sure that we were able to craft a story for them. One of the campaigns that we do every year is in October, called the Cybersecurity Awareness Month. That's a month where we sort of do a lot of intense campaigns to promote, amplify, educate, and make people aware about the need for cybersecurity, why it's essential, how does it help, what does it not having it, how does it cost an enterprise. So those are very important messages, and we use the month of October to do that. And every year we understand from the pulse of the consumers on what is their pain point, where are they having the maximum problems, what is it that we can do as Dell to help them mitigate it, how, what kind of awareness is required, do we need to talk to them about best practices, or do we need to talk to them about risks, or do we need to talk to them about measures that they must take, or do we need to talk to them about the kind of software that they should implement. So those become an input for us to craft our campaigns, and then we use the right mediums, whether it's through influencers, or whether it's through video, or whether it's through audio, whether it's through interviews, or partnerships. I mean, we partnered with the government of Karnataka to launch a program to create awareness in the state. So whatever the need comes out, then our campaign gets driven by that. Which also, between what we are doing as outcome to what we are doing as output, both of them we measure according to what the data is telling us to do. At a overall level as well, I think all of us are completely, we look at data every day, whether it's from the field, whether it's from sales, or whether it's from, the kind of website traffic that we get, or the kind of social media mentions that we're getting. If we get data to say that the mentions of cyber risks are higher because of, or let's say a particular industry, whichever industry that we pick, maybe in a particular period of time, there are increased risks that come into play because of the kind of news that we are seeing, or the news that we're hearing, or data leaks that we're hearing about. So then that gives us the insight that currently we feel that the environment is ripe for us to talk more about prevention better than cure. So a lot of times, we would post facto analyze something and say, okay, this happened, and so going forward, this must be the way. But sometimes the data tells us that maybe prevention is more applicable. Maybe the it did not happen because people are not aware of it. So that's what the data helps us guide in terms of what is the timing for a campaign, what kind of messaging do we take. Are we talking about remedial measures? Are we talking about preventive measures? Or are we simply talking about awareness and telling people that this should be a part of what you are going to do for your enterprises in the future. Like all communication and all PR people, we measure our share of voice, we measure our visibility, we measure, the kind of impact that we're generating. So that, I mean, how many articles are out in the press, which publication are we looking at, what is the kind of reach that we get. These are metrics that we anyway measure on a daily basis. What we also now measure is the kind of so impact measurement is a newer version of measurement that we do now. So traditionally, PR always measured itself in quantitative terms, so number of articles, number of clips, what is the value converted to advertising. That used to be a very favorite metric for people to show power of PR over advertising. So all of that has now given way to more value-based communication. So now we are talking more about the impact that we're generating. Are we able to make more people aware about what we are trying to say? And is it coming in the right places rather than, making sure that one press release is sent to 50 publications and, next day everyone's happy that this piece come out in 40 of them. Instead of that, we, sort of understand which journalist or which publication is actually interested or tracking something like that, and then talk to them and have more one-on-one conversations and make sure that it's an impactful piece of reporting rather than just a press release distribution. Now the word AI, it has both enthusiasm and fear. Okay, because it comes with its own set of freedom and comes with its own set of challenges. The freedom part of it is the fun part of it, because it can help if used well and correctly in a lot of ways. In which, as PR, it can help complement the strengths that you have, and it can augment the human intelligence that we have rather than replacing it. And that's, I think, is the most biggest fear that people have, that they feel AI is going to replace human. It probably will never do that, because it's a tool that's being created by people to help people, and it will augment the human intelligence part of it, won't replace it. Now, how it will help, it could be in many ways. It can help you brainstorm creatively. It can help you craft your messages. So a lot of times, we have the set of keywords that you want, and good AI tool can help you craft it in a way that it's easily understandable and you can use it. It can help you pull out media lists. It can help you in monitoring. It can help you both in monitoring your social media sentiment. It can also help you monitor your visibility. It can help you track your sentiment. It can also help you analyze your reputation against, benchmark against other players, people that you would want to benchmark yourself against. It can also give you if you give it the right structure, it can help you narrow down your audience for a certain kind of messaging or a certain kind of a launch or a product and stuff like that. It can also do your regular routine work of replying to emails, of crafting a press release, things that can be automated with a set of basic structure that you can give as an algorithm. In terms of crisis, I think it can be very helpful, because it can quickly help you understand where your sentiments are coming from. If it's negative, if it needs a issue to be addressed, if it needs something to be monitored and managed. So in times of crisis, the agility of a tool is much more than agility of a person, just because the emotional part of it is not taken. The tool is more unbiased, even in case of a crisis. So it is able to give you a very genuine advice rather than having it filtered with emotions, etc. So I think there are a couple of ways in which I think AI can be helpful. But like I said, all of this is only when, so AI, for everyone who understands it, they understand that it is a tool which analyzes input that you give it. So if you give it a lot of rubbish input, you're going to get a lot of rubbish output. It's just rubbish in, rubbish out kind of a phenomenon. So if the quality of the input is not good, then the quality of the output will not be accurate. And if you work on inaccurate data, it is worse than working on no data. Because if you are misinformed, or if you're half informed, or if you are incorrectly informed, you will end up taking a decision based on that, which will, instead of helping your campaign or helping your consumer, it will just go do the opposite version of it. So I think that is all of usage of AI, and a helpful use of AI is purely dependent on the quality of the source of the input data. Because if that is good, then your quality of your insight is brilliant, and then based on that, your decisions will be correct and your campaign will be successful. So that's my point of view on this one. I would say this is a great profession to be in. I've lived this for more than 2 decades, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. So it's a great field. It's greater if you know what you're doing, but it's great for anyone to sort of find their feet in. If you like meeting people, if you enjoy telling stories, if your passion lies in making conversations, then this would be a great place for you. But it does not come without its share of struggles. The path is hard. You will need to hustle. You will need to work hard. You will need to keep, you will need to be agile. You will need to constantly work on yourself. Make sure that you keep learning, because if learning stops, then your creativity will not be as you would want it to be. So I think for us to be creative, for us to be competent, for us to be efficient, we need to constantly keep working on ourselves and make ourselves updated with whatever is the newest. Today it is AI, tomorrow it could be something else. So for all kind of adaptability to technology, adaptability to newer ways of communication, for all of this, I think anyone who joining this field will need to constantly be a student. The day that you stop being one, this will not work for you. You will start feeling the burnout. So, be a student, and you'll always have great things to learn and great things to experience.